Hello and welcome to the PSTN Basic Security Officer Training Program. My name is Bill Jackson. The term security implies some things to people who live in a free society. Security refers to a predictable environment in which an individual or group may pursue its ends without disruption or harm and without fear of disturbance or injury. In this series, we're going to explore that statement from a variety of perspectives. This course has been designed to form a basic training foundation for those of us in the security and protection business. Where you go from here is entirely up to you. The security industry is one of the fastest growing enterprises in the free market economy worldwide. The need for trained and reliable security professionals has never been greater than it is now. So, on behalf of PSTN and the instructors who took part in the development of this course, I'd like to welcome you to the first steps down a path to a very noble and fulfilling profession. Now let's take a few moments and become familiar with the style and format that will be used in this series. The Basic Security Officer Training Series has been broken down into blocks of instruction covering a very specific subject matter area. The listing of subjects is Introduction to Asset Protection and Security, Public Relations, Report Writing, Communications, Patrol and Fixed Posts, Physical Security and Crime Prevention, Fire Protection and Life Safety, Criminal Law and Criminal Liability, Civil Law and Civil Liability, Ethics, Deportment and Professional Conduct, Investigations, and Emergency Situations. The Basic Security Officer Training Series program consists of 12 single videotapes, a student notebook, an instructor's guide, plus a protection officer's guidebook produced by the IFPO. At the end of each tape, you will be given the opportunity to take a short quiz to test your powers of retention. We will also provide you with some resources you can use to read more about the subject we just covered. And finally, we'll have a list of websites that you can use to further develop your skills. It's a comprehensive package that's designed to make you a more professional security officer and maybe even inspire you to move beyond the basic series and into a more advanced course of study. One word of caution before we begin. This course is basic in design. That means that we have tried to put together a series of programs that will get your security career started off on the right foot. As with any class or instructional program, you will be expected to do a little homework. When we introduce you to a topic or subject, we have to assume that you're going to check company policies and your own department regulations and rules to fine-tune the things that you're learning. Never hesitate to ask a supervisor or trainer for more information about any subject we plan to discuss or any of the material found in the guidebook. Well, it's time to get to work. So gather your student notebook, sit up straight, pay attention, and get ready to take notes. By the way, be sure not to overlook one of the nicer aspects of video training. Feel free to watch a tape or a section of a tape as many times as you like. Are you ready? Let's get started. The security business, like any other business or profession, has gradually developed a language all its own. As practitioners, you will need to be familiar with some of the words and phrases that are commonly used in the protection arena. It always helps if you know the lingo. We begin with the term access control. This involves using a combined strategy of geography, terrain, spatial characteristics, natural patterns of movement, and security personnel in conjunction with mechanical systems like locks and key control in an effort to protect a location. Assets. These are the people and the things that the organization needs to have to stay in business. People, of course, are the most important asset that any organization has. It is therefore a common understanding that any action or policy that places people in danger is a bad one. But assets also include property, physical things such as equipment, goods, buildings, machinery, vehicles, and any other item that the organization must use to operate are assets. But an asset can also be something intangible, something such as information, image, or public relations may be regarded as assets. They can sometimes be as important to an organization as any tangible asset. A barrier. A barrier can be anything that we put in place or use to keep people out of an area or to restrict movement within an area. A barrier can be natural, like a river or a cliff, or a man-made one, like a wall or a fence. Barriers can be psychological, like a warning sign, or electronic, like a motion detector. Fire prevention. This involves the simple but very critical function of making sure that combustible materials of all types are kept away from heat sources of all types. Risk management. This is a process by which an organization does a self-study to define its potential losses and then to take steps to eliminate or reduce those risks that it finds. This could mean removing the risk entirely, transferring the risk to some other entity, or just accepting the risk and keeping an eye on it. Risk management centers around risk control. Reasonability. This is a practical and legal concept that's intended to protect security officers from claims that they behaved in an improper manner. Reasonable behavior is what is expected in a civilized society. Safety audit. This is a physical examination of a work area in an effort to define those situations that could pose a potential threat to employees or property in a work site. Safety audits go hand in glove with fire prevention and risk management efforts. As we go through the course, we will introduce more phrases and words that will become a standard part of your vocabulary in a short time. Keep your pencil sharpened. The history of security is as old as the history of man itself. One of the primary reasons that humans banded together into social groups had to do with the aspect of mutual protection. History shows that in the days of ancient Egypt, the merchants of the time used to secure the doors to their shops by tying elaborate knots and even paying someone to stand guard outside the store during the night. Security really did not start to become a formalized part of everyday life until about 2000 BC. When the Code of Hammurabi was written, it was the first attempt at formalizing a set of laws and establishing the security of a government in a direct way. Laws, regulations, rules, and other guidelines for society quickly followed. Let's move on to the 1600s, when private security began to take shape. Private police were introduced in England. Parochial police were formed by the churches to protect the parishes. In 1663, a force of constables was established to secure businesses at night. They were soon followed by the creation of dock police and warehouse police and the development of rewards to help in capturing thieves. During this whole time, the security of the community was maintained as a private matter. The government had not yet gotten involved in the police business. The first protectors of British towns and villages were private security officers. In 1829, Sir Robert Peel helped establish the Metropolitan Police in London. Peel developed a model of policing that was used by many American police and security organizations. Meanwhile, in North America, protection was provided by U.S. Marshals, Railroad Police, Royal Canadian Police, and private security officers provided by a company started by Allan Pinkerton. It was named the Pinkerton Detective Agency. In its early days, Pinkerton was responsible for protecting railroads, banks, and even President Lincoln. In 1889, Brinks Incorporated was formed to protect payrolls. In 1909, William J. Burns started his own security company by providing guards to banks. World War II ushered in massive growth in security. Hundreds of thousands of personnel were required to protect industrial facilities. During the Cold War, this trend continued. This is where the term industrial security originated. In 1953, the American Society for Industrial Security was formed. ASIS International has over 33,000 members across the world today. In 1988, the International Foundation of Protection Officers was formed to assist in the training and certification of protection officers. As you can see, the origins of the security service have a rich and valuable history. The traditions and the standards set by past professionals are the base that we build on for the future. Remember your past. It is the launch pad to your future. And there's a great future in this rapidly evolving field. Currently, there are roughly 3 times as many security officers as there are police officers in the United States. And this ratio is likely to remain constant for the next few decades. Knowledge of business and organizational principles is essential to those charged with protecting organizations. While each organization is somewhat unique, there are some general principles that are common to both public and private organizations. It's important that the protection officers study their own organization and become intimately familiar with their structure. The burden is even greater for contract security personnel who must understand their employer's organization as well as that of the client. In most organizations, there are 4 levels. At the top, we find management. These are the people who are responsible for leading the organization in an effective and efficient manner. The leadership is usually comprised of the president, the chief financial officer, and, in some cases, various vice presidents. These are the people that set policy. Under the administration, we find the managers. The managers take the policies of the administrators and apply them in the real world of work. Managers are the ones that are usually in charge of the various departments that make up the company. Next, we find the supervisors. The supervisors oversee the day-to-day operations. They supervise the line personnel or rank and file. They also serve as a liaison between management and line personnel. Under the supervisor level, we find what is commonly referred to as the rank and file. These are the people who actually make the goods or provide the services that the company or the organization is in the business of providing. A security department usually has a structure too. Most of the time, the structure of the security department mirrors the structure of the parent organization. The security manager usually reports to a member of the administration of the organization. The security supervisors report to the manager, and security officers report to the security supervisors. Some security agencies and departments are structured along quasi-military lines. There is a chief or a commander, captains, lieutenants, sergeants, corporals, and then security officers. Security departments that are part of a parent company or organization are called proprietary departments. The officers are hired by the company and are employees of the organization, much the same as any other employee. Policy flows from the company, as do rules, regulations, and guidelines. Some security departments are hired from outside the organization. These are called contract security agencies. There are contract agencies that can provide security forces of hundreds of officers and can also provide a company with 1 or 2 people to fill a short-term special need. Some are specialized, some are security generalists. The marketplace creates a need, and the responsive profile of the security field will rush in to fill that need. The security business has developed in response to the needs of the people in a free society. We exist to fill a need, and that need is generated by circumstances that can be unique to a particular location or set of circumstances. As a result, when we take a look at the kinds of security services that are available, we see that it runs the spectrum. They range from organizations that are armed to a simple walking patrol system at a small plant. There really is no typical security force. Areas of specialization have developed like they have in any field. Security is very diverse. Security specialties include such things as industrial security, retail security, hospital security, campus security, mall security, housing security, transit security, airport security, bank security, theme park security, resort security, casino security, court security, government installation security, cultural properties, which include museums, archives, and libraries. As extensive as this list is, it probably doesn't begin to contain all the various security functions that exist in the real world. In addition, some of these services will be provided by proprietary or in-house security organizations, and some will be provided by contract security companies. The bottom line is simply this: To keep current and responsive to the needs that the public has for security services, we need to be flexible in the way we provide those services. This means that the security profession has to be populated by officers who can adjust quickly and learn new skills in a timely manner. Flexibility is key. The term security covers quite a bit of ground. There are many types of agencies serving people and companies in all walks of life. As diverse as the profession is, there are some functions that are basic in nature and can be found in most security environments in one form or another. Management is responsible for planning and implementing these functions. Policies and procedures and technology may be employed to accomplish them. They include building and perimeter security, access control and intrusion detection functions, alarm and surveillance systems control and monitoring, fire detection, suppression and response, emergency and disaster response and control, accident prevention and safety monitoring, enforcement of rules and regulations. So, where does all of this tradition and history and structure leave the individual security officer in the overall scheme of things? Is the security officer the lowest position on the totem pole and therefore the least important link in the chain? No, nothing could be further from the truth. The security officer is one of the few people in the organization that understands where crime comes from. Crime does not just happen in a vacuum. The conditions which create crimes are these. There must be a desire on the part of the criminal to commit the act. No one ever committed a crime accidentally. Crimes are committed intentionally. Second, the criminal must have the skills needed to commit the crime. They acquire the skills needed to commit crimes by learning from others, often coworkers or peers. In some cases, they learn to commit crimes while they are in jail or prison. The skill level in crime varies widely. Third, the person who knows how to commit a crime and has the desire to commit a crime must be given an opportunity to commit the crime. This is where a security professional can make all the difference in the world. By controlling access, ensuring rooms are properly locked, and following procedures, the opportunity to commit crime is reduced. In addition to reducing crime, security officers work to reduce losses stemming from accidents, fires, and emergency situations. According to Dr. Robert Fisher, professor at Western Illinois University and co-author of the textbook Introduction to Security, the duties of the security officer, while many and varied, contain some common elements. The following is a complete list of security officer duties. They protect the buildings and grounds to which they are assigned, including the contents, occupants, and visitors. They enforce the rules and regulations governing the facility. They direct traffic, both foot and vehicular. They maintain order on their posts and help people who require assistance or information. They familiarize themselves with all special and general orders and carry them out to the letter. They supervise and enforce applicable systems of identifying personnel and vehicles, conduct package and vehicle inspections, and apprehend people entering or leaving the facility without the required authorization. They conduct periodic prescribed inspections of all areas at designated times to ascertain their security and safety. They act for management in maintaining order and reporting any incidents that disrupt such order. They report incidents of employees engaged in horseplay, loitering, or violation of clearly stated policies. They report all sickness or accidents involving employees. They instantly sound the alarm and respond to fires. They log and turn in lost or unclaimed property. In the event that any property has been reported stolen, they check the recovered property log before proceeding. They make full reports to supervisors on all unusual circumstances. They may be responsible for emergency planning and medical emergencies. In addition to those listed duties, the professional security officer must also remember that, like it or not, they are often called upon to act as a representative for the management of the organization. Sometimes a security officer is the only official that a person gets to deal with from the company. It's important for the officer to act in a professional and reasonable manner when dealing with the public. Security officers also must function as an intelligence resource for the management of the organization. A trusted security officer can be one of the best sources of what is really going on in an organization that a company can have. They deal with the people in the work site on a daily basis. They know what's going on, when it's going to happen, and where it's likely to go down. Security officers are responsible for enforcing rules. They must ensure compliance with policies established by management. Finally, security officers, because of their role as an authority figure and because they are perceived as being tied to the legal system, are often used by people in the work site as a kind of legal consultant of sorts. Security officers are constantly being asked questions that have legal overtones at work. It makes it important for us to stay current about what is going on in and around the job. To get a better understanding of what it means to be a security professional, Professor Chris Hertig of York College in Pennsylvania suggests that we look at the word itself. P, be precise in all aspects of the job. Hair in place, uniform worn well, reports completed on time, instructions followed precisely. R, be responsive to the needs of the clients and the public. Be ready, willing, and able to assist when you see the opportunity. O, be objective and unbiased. Keep an open mind and see things for what they really are. F, be factual in reports, conversations, and information. E, be ethical, honest, and forthright in all that you say and all that you do. S, be sincere about doing the job. Be honest in dealing with fellow employees, other officers, and the police. S, strive for perfection. It's out there. Being the best is more attitude than attribute. I, be informed about what's going on, where things are, who's who, and how things work. O, be observant of people, places, and things in the environment that you are responsible for protecting. N, be neat and orderly in appearance, in work habits, in off-duty conduct. A, be accommodating and helpful to others. And finally, L, be loyal to yourself, to your department, your supervisor, your ethics, and your profession. Here are some practical tactics. Keep work-related information confidential. It may be interesting, but is it really anyone else's business? Stay focused on the task at hand. While you're at work, concentrate on the work. Conduct yourself as if someone else is watching you at all times. This is the security business, and you're meant to be seen. To enforce the rules and apply the rules, you must know the rules. You need to review them on a regular basis. Talk to the police. They know what's going on in their patrol area and are an excellent source of information. It will also help you a great deal if they can associate a face with a location when they come to back you up. Don't assume. If you are not sure if what you heard or read is correct, then you have the obligation to check it out until you are sure. Keep your uniform neat and clean. First impressions matter. Stay informed. Read the industry magazines for the area where you work. Stay current on developments in the security field. Catching up is much harder than keeping up. Remember your role. Protection of life is first. Protection of property is next. Rule compliance follows after those two things. Don't overlook the detection of hazards, reporting of unusual incidents, safety inspections, and the movements of people and property. Remember, when in doubt, report. Quality shows. The qualities that you need to exemplify in your work will shine through if you have a positive attitude, are honest and disciplined, dependable, cooperative, discreet, and fair. Well, that concludes our program on an introduction to asset protection and security. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Security is first, last, and always a business. We offer a high level of services to our clients and our employees in an effort to protect the assets that allow an organization to operate. Hello and welcome to the PSTN Basic Security Officer Training Series. I'm Bill Jackson. You know, people are at the root of any business endeavor. Not only must we dedicate ourselves to the task of protecting them, we must accomplish this goal while maintaining a demeanor of approachability and openness. The world of work is a big component of the average person's life. Work matters. Safety and security at work matters too. Many times, the professional security officer is the only official of a company that a client or a visitor has direct contact with. It is also the security officer who often acts as a conduit for the company to apply its rules and regulations in an effort to help the business thrive. The fact of the matter is that you are constantly on display. What you say and what you do matters. How you choose to conduct yourself has an impact. The reason why we're in the security business in the first place is to serve the client. The client is the person who pays the freight. They may be the CEO, Director of Security, or the Human Resources Manager. The client appreciates the need for security, or we wouldn't be employed here in the first place. The client needs to feel that a valuable service is being rendered to their business, or the need for us becomes non-existent. Security only exists for the service it can provide. We must be able to service the client in a manner they deem appropriate. We must respect their wishes. The client, or boss, may not always be right, but they are always the boss. Our continued success as professionals revolves around keeping our clients happy. Any other viewpoint will only help us to self-destruct, and rapidly. So, how do we keep a client happy? How do we show them what we can do without being overbearing? Well, the answer can be found in your attitude, something over which you have total control. The fact of the matter is that a security officer often serves as the front man or woman for the company. You are an authority figure whether you like it or not. You could well be the only official that a visitor will meet. You could also well be the first representative of your organization that a visitor will have to deal with. Your attitude towards the job can make all the difference in the world. Like it or not, Mom was right. First impressions do count. Developing, maintaining, and projecting proper security attitude centers on 5 basic components. First, looking good. You should be neat and clean in your appearance. Your uniform should be clean and well pressed. Shoes shined, hair combed, gig line straight, and your equipment in good working order. The military has a simple saying that goes, look sharp, be sharp. It's true. A sharp appearance both commands respect and influences how you feel about yourself. 2, perform well. Know your job and give it your best effort. In the security business, there's no such thing as a menial task. Everything is tied in some way to everything else. Strive to see the big picture and develop an appreciation for your place in it. 3, speak clearly. Look at someone when you talk to them. Make eye contact. Know what you're talking about. As security officers, we must function as an information resource. This is one of the functions that the client expects from us. Take the time to know what you need to know. Be able to look up the answers to things